Hello, it's your friend Doublebite, and this is going to be a quickie Terraria tutorial. So, as many of you know, Terraria is one of my favorite games of all time, definitely top 10, probably top 5. And a friend of mine on my way home from work texted me as like, hey, can you give me some tips on Terraria? I'm finding it really frustrating to get started. And I'm like, hell yeah, and gave some tips, and I'm like, you know what, why don't I make a video? Just to get people started, because I love this game, but I feel like it's kind of unintuitive from the start, and I think it's an underrated game. It's really popular, but it's still underrated. So I just made a character, made a little demon woman. So first thing I recommend doing when you start up the game as a new player is hit I to open up this menu, then go to settings, and click auto pause on. What this does is just makes it whenever you open your inventory menu, it pauses what's going on around you. It will reduce the pressure on you, give you more time to look around, do things, etc. Cool. The second thing you should do is look at your starting items. We have a godly copper short sword, which is actually kind of cool, but still shit. A copper pickaxe, and a ruthless copper axe. So, in theory, this is your starting weapon. This is for digging. This is for cutting down trees. In practice, copper axe is what you will do to fight. Fuck your short sword. Here's why. Let's go back to here. Your short sword, you need to click every time you want to attack, and it goes in front of you. Your axe, you can hold down the button, and it will swing on top of you. So, if there are enemies coming from above, your axe will hit them, and your sword will not. So I highly recommend just using your axe for everything. Now, day one in this game, our very first step is to cut down some trees. Also, on the right side here, we have a map, and hitting tab will make that map go away. I'll explain what that little guy walking around is in a second once he comes back here. But for now, we're going to cut down some trees. Trees will give us wood and acorns. Acorns we can plant to get more trees later. Not urgent, there's plenty of trees in this game, but I feel like caring about the environment, so I made an acorn, and there we go. Now, as you can see, the sun goes across the sky, and there's a day-night cycle. Enemies change day versus night, and in general, the nighttime enemies are harder. I don't think there's any day-night differences when you're below ground. This is just a above ground thing. So we have our basic slimes. They drop gels. This is also important. During day one, we'll want to get wood and get gel as much as possible. So I'm just going to clear out this area by where I spawn. This way, whenever I die, I'll come back to a nice cleared out area. In a little bit, we'll be building our first house. Okay, I have enough wood. Okay, so this is the guide. You can right-click him to get help, and if you select crafting and give him an item, he'll tell you what you can make out of it. So, let's see, place some wood here, and he'll show every goddamn thing in the game that's made out of wood. I don't find this particularly helpful. The guide is kind of useless. But, importantly, he has a bow, and he will attempt to shoot things for you. His aim is terrible, but his heart is in the right place. Then he'll just wander around aimlessly. So, let's build our house after we kill the slime. God, I'm playing on normal mode rather than expert, and wow, things actually die in this. So, to craft things, you bring up your menu, and in the bottom right, you see crafting. Now it will automatically have everything you can possibly build. So right now we can make torches, gel and wood. We can make wooden platforms, which we'll get to, and we can make a workbench. Just like in Minecraft, you need a workbench for most crafting. So we'll place that. And I'm going to turn off auto pause just so I can move while in this menu, since I'm used to this game. Place our workbench, and suddenly we can craft a lot more things. For now, we'll wait on that. Next step, let's get the walls and the ceiling of our starter house. We want our starter house to be pretty big for a couple reasons, which I'll get to. So I'm just going to make a nice, simple house. Okay, fuck off, slime. I'm busy here. There we go. And we want to bring a little nub down here at head height, and we're going to do another one over here. Pro tip, holding down shift makes your weapon context sensitive. Here's what I mean by that. Sorry, squirrel. Right now we have our sword out. I'm going to hold down shift, move the mouse over a tree, now it's an axe. Move it over dirt, now it's a pickaxe. By default, it usually switches to torches, but we do not have any. Very, very useful. So hold shift, context sensitive. Anyway, we've got our little framework. Let's go steal that gel. Anyway, got our framework. Now we're going to start building. Step 1, so we don't have any uninvited guests, we're going to build 2 doors. And since I do not have auto pause, I can move and I can place the doors from this menu. Next, we're going to make a bunch of wooden walls. Right now, our house is still considered outside. Also, another quick tip, right-clicking lets you make a whole bunch of them. So that was clicking with my holding down right-click instead of left-click. So right now, our house is considered to be outside still, because it doesn't have walls. Placing walls will not only make our house more aesthetically pleasing, it will also make it count as inside. I'm just going to wall up our nice little place, make it look all pretty. You see that little seam? That's just where we're missing a block. And as you can see, it gets darker because we no longer have light sources. Let's fix that. We have 9 gel right now, so let's turn all of that into torches. Remember, right-click to build a bunch of a thing. As you can see, just holding torches gives light. And now, if I hit shift, by default, it will switch to torches. Additionally, you can place torches on blocks, like such, or you can place them on human-placed walls, like that. So now we have a little house, and it counts as indoors. We can make it a home for our NPCs. The only one that we have right now is our guide, but let's look at housing. Housing query. If this is confusing, don't worry about it yet, but it is kind of the next step of the game. So if I get to housing query and I click inside, it will say what the house needs to make a room for an NPC. All NPC rooms need lighting, walls, a chair, and a table. In this case, the crafting bench counts as a table. They also need to be above a certain size, so don't go skimpy. So let's make ourselves a chair, place it, and check again. There we go. It automatically assigns the room to the next available NPC, which in this case is our guide, and lets us know the housing is occupied. If we have multiple rooms, we can use this to reassign the guide or other NPCs to different rooms. There are a lot of NPCs in this game, and you unlock them through various things. I don't want to spoil how you unlock all of them, but some you find around in the world, and others you unlock through certain things. For example, the merchant will come if you have acquired enough gold from monsters. Keep in mind, for an NPC to arrive, you need to have an available room. So before we can get the merchant or any other NPCs, we'll need to expand our house. Right now, we still have some daylight left. I do not know where we got this gold ore. Neat. Anyway, right now we still have some daylight left, so let's explore. In general, I'd recommend only exploring outside during the day and using nighttime for building your house or for exploring down below. Here we have some ore we can mine. It's tin, which is the lowest tier of ore, but it's still good. We'll use ore to make items and weapons and whatnot. Sometimes you'll see these little flowers. You can mine them and they will get you marigolds. There are other items that you can pick up as well. So always shift and mouse over things if you don't know if they can be harvested or not. In that case, it's an item worth a lot of gold once you can sell it to an NPC. So it's nice to pick them up. So I think since it's getting dark, I think I'll end this video here after showing one more thing. Right now, we can jump over our house, which is nice, but as we build up, yeah, let's expand our house for a little bit and then I'll end this video. So let's start working on our next room. Now I can't reach here with the pickaxe, so I'm going to stand on the table and just dig a hole in our ceiling. When I do that, the housing query will complain at me, saying it's missing a wall. Instead of the normal wall, I'm going to make wooden platforms. Wooden platforms are incredibly useful because you can jump through them and stand on them. I place that, and this should say this is okay. Exactly. So it fills in our wall, but as you can see, I can jump up through it, and by hitting down, I can jump down through it. Now remember what we said for housing? All houses need to have a table, a chair, walls, and a door. So, before it gets dark, let's just grab a little more wood. We're going to need it. I highly recommend always having a couple extra rooms in your house. You never know when something you do will unlock an NPC, so always have at least one spare room just in case you meet someone along the way. And thankfully trees do get you a good amount of wood. You can tell when it becomes nighttime because the music will change and the different monsters will spawn. Alright. I might be able to make this into 2 rooms. I'm not sure if they'll be big enough, but I think they will. But for now, let's make ourselves a door, a chair, and I like the and let's make ourselves a regular table. We have 91 walls, so let's see if that's sufficient. You might be able to hear the sounds of the undead coming. Our table, our chair, our NPC fleet, and goes back in the house. And we finished making up our second room. And it's suitable. So now we have an extra room. Whenever we unlock someone, they'll have a home to stay in. So this is the basic of what your first day in Terraria should be. At night, what I'd probably do next is start digging downwards and exploring the underground. It's probably going to be dangerous, but it's worth it. During the day, I recommend exploring. If you see a difference in the background and the environment, such as snow, sand, or something spooky, you've hit a different biome. Different biomes have different enemies and are usually much more difficult, so be careful. I would stick to exploring the grassy biome. and looking through cracks in the ground to see if you can find pots and chests that you can store your items in. I'll go into more details on later steps in the next episode. So I think I'll finish this recording and then record the next one and then call that a day for tutorials, unless people specifically would like some more information. Anyway, hope this was a good first day tutorial, and until next time, double bite out.